Hi everyone and welcome to this week voiceover video about the latest aluminum handle headset I made. As you probably already know by now, I made 4, and also I just drawn the winner for the Patreon giveaway, so congrats the winner. And yeah, let's jump into it and let's see what I can say about this product. So a couple weeks back I went to the hardware store and I got 4 small headsets about 600 grams with regular wooden handle. These were decent quality, but yeah, not expensive at all. These were like €8 each. So yeah, it's a decent price, and as it turns out they're made of quite a good steel, and as you may have seen already at the end of the video, this actually chopped really well compared to the other headset I tried to restore. You know, the steel is way better in this one. So I'm starting off by removing the old wooden handle. I'm just sewing it off with a Japanese style saw, and then I'm pushing out the piece that's left in the eye. And then I'm cleaning very well the head. Yeah, not really very well, but I'm just removing all the paint and the big scratches that are all over the place. And yes, this being a pretty cheap headset is not really, not really polished. So I just went in with the angle grinder and some abrasive disc to remove the biggest and deepest scratches in the head. And then I did a bit of hand sanding just to make the scratch pattern more uniform. And for the head I didn't really went crazy with the grit, just up to 220 grit I think, and I guess this was plenty enough for what I wanted to do. So now I'm showing the process of designing the head. As always, I'm doing this in Fusion 360. And really this was a pretty simple process to design this kind of simple shape. It's very easy from reference pictures. And I just traced the top side and, a side view. And then just a couple of extrusion, and you pretty much have a very precise model, or precise enough model for what I want to do. And then it's just a matter of making a simple handle, and then I had to split the pattern in 4 pieces because I wasn't able to print one entirely due to the size of my printing bed. But just with pegs the 2 parts went back together perfectly, and yeah, I guess this pattern turned out pretty well. And also a cool thing about 3D printing the pattern is that you can insert pins in the design, so it's very easy to take apart and assemble every time. I find out that by scaling the pins to 97% of the original dimension, they fit in pretty well. So yeah, it's already some time that I'm using these techniques and it works well. So this is the part of the video where I make the mold out of Petrobond sand. And yeah, really, you probably have seen this process quite a number of times on my channel already, so not really sure what I should say anymore. Just a matter of placing the pattern and then dusting on some baby powder to help it release from the sand. Then I'm sifting the sand for the first couple of layers to help capture all the details. And then it's just a matter of ramming it up real well so that it holds its shape. And with the bottom side done, I can flip it over and of course insert the other half of the pattern. And then again some more baby powder, and it's just a repetition of the same process. And really, once you do these kind of things a number of times, they start to get pretty simple. And of course it is some time consuming to make a pattern like this, but once you have the process dialed in, it's very easy and repeatable. For this pattern I made a couple of changes to the design, and instead of doing runners that usually connects the pattern to the infeed and the outfeed, just place the infeed and outfeed directly in contact with the pattern. And I've also used a much larger diameter pipe to cut the infeed and the outfeed, in the hope that this prevents the aluminum from cooling too much in the gates. And as it turns out, all the forecasts that I made were successful on the first try, so I guess it's working and I'm very happy. So as always, I'm tapping the pattern to help it release from the mold, and then I clean, the flashing with a soft brush, and then also I blow off some of the loose dust with this red thing that I found at the hardware store. And lastly, I can insert the headset head. Then off camera I've also cleaned really well with acetone. That's to prevent any kind of grease or residue to burn off. And that's because when something burns off, you have fume and gases. And I guess this is not a nice thing to have inside a mold with molten metal. Never tested, but I guess it works better this way. And of course I've also used risers to help improve the static pressure inside the mold, and that should help to improve the casting qualities and details. Now outside I'm melting some aluminum, as always, in my charcoal foundry, and I am degassing it with sodium carbonate and then fluxing it with a specific flux made for aluminum. And I get that at the same place where I buy the Petrobond sand, and yeah, it works very well. So the pour went very straightforward. I was able to pour only from one side and it raised up from the other, so that's always a good sign. And I was very pleased with the quality of the casting, and also it was very straight in relation with the hatchet head. So yeah, very happy with this forecast. They all came out great. Now on the metal cutting band, so I'm removing the in-feed, out-feed and some of the flashing that has occurred around the hatchet head. And then from now on it's just a matter of cleaning really well the handle and make it look nice and shiny. My process for that is to refine the shape with hand rasps and hand files, and that really is the quickest way to remove some materials from aluminum. And then I go in with sandpaper. Oh no, this time I've used the orbital sander first, and that was just so that I didn't have to hand sand from 40 grit, and that made it much easier. Oh yeah, I also forgot that I used a steel chisel to remove some of the flashing around the top and bottom side of the hatchet. So back to sanding. With the orbital sander I went from 40 up to 400 grit. And aluminum is very abrasion resistant, so pretty much used one disc for each hatchet. And I mean, that's not too bad. You know, way harder on sandpaper than wood, of course. Then it was that matter of hand sanding, starting at 400 grit and ending at 1200 grit. And now to establish the final polish, as always I'm using a cotton wheel on the bench grinder with fine polishing compound. I've also tried to use the polishing paste that is used to, buff out cars, and they work just about the same. Last step is to resharp the hatchet head, and as you can see I did that on the 2x72 with a worn out 200 grit, and that made it plenty sharp for what you should use an hatchet for. I guess it's all done. As you know, I made 4, and of course the process was exactly the same, so I didn't bother to record any of it apart from the pouring part, and that's just because it looks cool. And at the end I decided to stamp the BBP and also the number of the hatchet, and I'm only gonna make 4 of these ever, I think, so I guess it's a nice touch. It really is not that I don't want to cast more, but it just takes so much time, and I'd rather do something that I never done before for videos, I would love to make more, but just a matter of time. Here you can see them, all nice and shiny. I was hoping that the tempering color would show in the head. Unfortunately, that was the case. And so you can see the head is completely annealed to black, and then the colors go toward the edge where it's just steel color, so that means that the temper hasn't changed at all in the edges, and that's good. Of course I had to do some testing, and again I'm chopping a piece of wood and then I'm throwing it, because if you make an hatchet you have to throw it. That's just how it works. No, really, it's always funny to throw an hatchet, and once I get the distance and the force that I need to throw, it sticks in almost all the time, and it's very satisfying. And that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know I really haven't said anything new compared to the other aluminum handle videos, but I mainly wanted to do this for the 1 million mark and to make a giveaway, and yeah, it all went good. I'm happy with this project as always. So yeah, really, I guess that's it for this one, guys. As always, thank you a lot for the support, and we will see you again next week. Thanks, guys. Bye bye.